but let's get into it. I think a couple questions. How long does it take induction, the new induction burners, to boil a gallon of water? Is it about the same? Is induction a little faster? Is it a lot faster? Is gas still faster? And we're gonna compare the 7,000 watt SKS to the 23,000 BTU pro burner. Well, here's the answer. It's 3 minutes and 27 seconds for induction, and it took the pro gas burner 13 minutes and 30 seconds. Now, it's important to remember that I had to shut the induction off or it would have boiled over. For gas, that was just a rolling boil. If I could have kept it on forever and it would just kept the boil. So it's pretty amazing, the spread of speed, especially as inductions become higher wattage. But how new is induction? Is it 1940s, 1950s, 1990s, or 2000s? The answer is 1950s. Induction was created. Sears actually had the first induction ranges in the 1970s. I sold the first induction cooktops in the 1980s. Then it disappeared. A company called Diva from Canada, actually, we were selling $4,000 30-inch induction cooktops, and then inductions exploded. So here's the plan for today. We have a lot of questions to answer as well, but how induction works, I'm going to tell you in less than 60 seconds, and then the benefits and why I think you'll like it, and then the pitfalls of why you might not like it. And then we'll talk about some of the newer induction products that are out right now. So we'll get started with how induction works. Induction's a magnetic burner. So a magnet bypasses the glass on the cooktop and excites the metal molecules, and the pan actually is the circuit that cooks the food. And there's a lot of advantages to that, but that's basically how induction works. It's magnet, metal cooks the food. And there's a lot of advantages to that. First one is speed, as you now know. I mean, some of the new induction burners, they're way faster. There's better searing. And remember, there's less wasted energy with induction. Gas, you can get a Wolf wok burner at 35,000 BTUs, but 40% of that's going to be lost through the sides, whereas induction, you'll get that heat loss. And also, really, the simmer is unbelievable in induction. First of all, it's instant. I just did a TikTok video boiling over beef stew and then hitting the simmer button, and it went to an instant simmer. And you get a full range. You don't get a full range with gas. Remember, the concerts where you light your lighter, maybe dating myself. If you go down, you can't, a gas can't go down to a low without blowing out. It needs oxygen. But on induction, you can go from 1 watt to whatever the wattage is. So for sauces, and everyone does the chocolate melt test, induction is going to be far better, especially on the low and on the high, than gas, right? This is the safest cooking product you can buy. If you want your child not to turn the range on, don't put any metal pans next to it, because it needs metal to activate. That's what the magnet needs. Without it, the induction won't turn on. But even further, remember, it's not heating the glass. You're getting residual heat from the pan to the glass. So it doesn't get as nearly as hot as electric, which heats the glass heats the food, or even a gas surface, touching that hob afterwards is a problem. So this is not child-proof, but it's the most child-safe product you can have in your house, right? And with all that, you get a much easier cleanup because it doesn't bake in like electric or gas does. I mean, Steve Shipley, our corporate chef, could probably talk about, he puts paper down because it doesn't conduct the induction. So over the burner to keep it cleaner, they have those Silplat ceramics that you can put around it as well, where you can spill on it and just take it off and have a perfectly clean cooktop. But even if you don't, because it doesn't have that residual heat of electric, way easier to clean. Again, ventilation is, we're huge on ventilation here. And induction, you have less heat than gas, obviously, because a lot of that is exfiltration through the side of the burners. but it doesn't produce the potentially harmful compounds like nitrogen oxide and carbon dioxide, carbon monoxide, particulate matter, formaldehyde, which is generated by gas by burning fat. Now, here's the problem with venting and why we recommend ventings. Your house is different from your parents'. Is you're going to have energy efficient windows and housing to keep air in. So you're going to save a lot in heating and HVAC costs. The problem is you're going to keep a lot of the smoke, grease, and those potentially harmful compounds in your house a lot longer. So venting is much easier with induction than it is in gas. But you still need a vent. Now, really, with all these, why is induction more popular? Is it the speed? Is it the simmer? Is it the venting? Is it child safety? Is it cleanup? Or is it F? You have no choice. And for most of it, for us in Massachusetts, New York, Illinois, and California, you have no choice. In multifamily, gas is no longer available due to code laws. You can replace a gas range in your house in new construction. We've had builders that were grandfathered in only to find out after the fact they were not. So a lot of you are here from Massachusetts, make sure that if you've got a new construction, you're considering gas, that you can still do it. But in a lot of places, especially in multifamily, we're talking about tens of thousands of units, gas is not allowed, so induction becomes the default choice. Now let's talk about pitfalls. First one's noise. And it's really a function of the pan. We did a video on induction noise not long ago. The better the pan, the more metal in that pan, the less noisy it'll be. Remember, it's the magnet that's attracting the metal. So, and then this is something no one talks about. It's called power sharing or power boost. What happens in most cooktops is when you boost the front burners, you're actually taking power from the back. So if you think you're going to cook on all the burners boosted, it's not going to happen. Now, I don't think that's really very similar to gas range. Most of the power burners in a gas range are in the front and the smaller burners in the back. It's pretty similar to that, but you're not going to power boost every burner on an induction, right? So you get basically 2 or 3 burners that you can boost on, and that's basically it. Oops, sorry. Pan sizing, Steve's going to talk to that. Flat bottom, high. You need to have the right pots for induction. High ferrous content or high metal content, flatter bottoms are going to perform way better than anything else. And again, for a lot of people looking to go from gas to induction, it's not plug and play. A typical induction cooktop needs 30 amps. A typical range needs 50 amps, whereas a gas only needs 15 amps. So you could plug a hairdryer into a gas outlet. So really in Massachusetts, you need an electrician. You need to change the receptacle. You need to rewire to the outlet box. You probably need more power in that box. Typically, when I've talked to electricians, it's about a $3,500 job, typically. And one thing I want to note for people that live in rural areas, as I'm reading, some of you live in rural areas, this is an electric source, so it can't be turned on with a lighter. So if you're in a rural area where power goes out, you're not going to light induction the way you can light a gas cooktop with a lighter. And one of the things, options, when you go from like a classic dual fuel range like Miele here, when we look at gas dual fuel ranges, you have a lot of options. Like this Miele's got a speed oven on the left. If it was thermal or SKS, you could put it with a speed oven. You can get in SKS, you get a sous vide top and in a dual fuel. You can get grills, griddles, French tops. None of that's real, although you can griddle very well in an induction. None of that's really available. What you get is burners and ovens. Looking at fancier options, you're not going to get that in an induction range. Last is reliability, and it's kind of like a double-edged sword. Reliability on cooktops are extremely reliable. Ranges, not as much. The reason is they take 50 amps. So if you get a voltage spike, it can fry the controls. So the ranges are not as reliable as a basic gas roller stove, yet the induction is more reliable. And here are the numbers. We did last year 33,190 service calls, and all these brands here we had to sell 50 or more. And you look at the Bosch brands, Bosch Benchmark, Gaggenau is a division of Bosch, Thermador is a division of Bosch. They're actually all made in Spain, but they're all really low for repair. Actually, LG with SKS and LG are the same company as well, so that they're a very reliable cooktop. As far as ranges, as you can see, it goes up almost double the service required on a range, and that's typically due to voltage issues. So something to be mindful of. Let's talk about best products, okay? In terms of reliability, Bosch Benchmark, Thermador, Gaggenau are the most reliable induction cooktops, at least last 3 to 4 years since we've been covering reliability for about 5 or 6, and they've been number one every year. Yet a lot of people, as a lark, I have a TikTok account that I just publish appliance stuff to see what people would say. A lot of people say I don't like Thermador, and this is still one of the most sophisticated cooktops. This is the Thermador Freedom, and you can put the pot on the right side and then move it to the left side, and the cooktop recognizes that and resets the power on the left side. That's still state of the art, and it's like 12 years old, the Freedom. The problem with the Thermador cooktops and some of the Bosches, the max output is still 3,700 watts, whereas some of the newer cooktops, SKS, Blue Star, some of the other ones that we don't carry, are 7,000 watts. So if you really want speed, you're probably not going to get that as much, although induction is still more powerful than gas. But they're more powerful units out. This is a cooktop I really like. It has the bridge elements on either side. It's got that 7,000 watt power burner in the middle, and it's kind of like got its own little secret code in it. If you hit any of the burner buttons on the left hand side and put a pot down, it tells you the metal content in that pot. So you'll know whether your pots are induction ready if you buy an SKS, or you walk into one of our stores where I think most of them are active, and you can just put your pot on that cooktop, and it'll tell you if it's induction ready or not. And I think LG Studio is really, they have a 6,000 watt element in a much less expensive. I'd put Fisher Paykel in there, 36 inch. It's got two 5,500 watt elements. They're pretty good as well. Those are the most powerful, and then the Bosch brands would be the most reliable. For ranges, LG is the most reliable. I like this range. It's got much less expensive. The only thing it's basic, it doesn't have a bridge element on the real more basic model. Same thing with Samsung as well. The cafe is different, where you can get 3 colors, 6 handle styles to get something unique. The double oven is either a love-hate. If you're baking a lot of turkeys, you got to get down pretty low to put it in there. If you're doing a lot of casseroles, you never have to bend. So it's really dependent on how you cook and what you like for style. In terms of Miele, they have a new 36 inch out. Miele makes steam assist really easy. What steam will do, a lot of people like electric ovens, as you should. It's a drier heat, great for baking, but no one likes a dry roast. So if you add steam, which is adding moisture, you can get some much better flavor. It's also essential for hardening crusts. And the Miele's got that M touch where you put in what you like to cook and how you like it cooked, and it'll calculate time and temperature, and they make speed easy. Like if you like to bake bread, they've got 17 modes where you just hit a button. SKS has got very similar functionality to a Miele. Miele has to be plumbed. This one you got to fill water, and I have a Wolf steam oven in my house, and I feel it. It's never been a problem. I think Miele is a little bit more intuitive, but this may be more full featured. You get very easy controls, a 7,000 watt element, and you get steam assist in the oven. This is a great brand, SKS, to consider because it's so technology forward. And then Wolf's got brand new ones. A lot of questions on greasy fingers and electronic controls. Wolf went back to their kind of knob controls, which is a little bit easier to control the induction. They have the Wolf Gourmet, which is very similar to the M-Touch. You tell it what you like to cook, how you like to cook. It gives you time, temperature, and even rack position as well. This is really good, but in 48, you've got to be very careful. This is a 100 amp unit in 48 inch, not 50, but 48. But still, really, really good cooking, really good baking product if you're buying a Wolf. And then you have Blue Star. Blue Star will give you 7,400 watt element in 1,000 different colors and 6 trims. We have, in my mind, probably one of the ugliest ranges in Framingham. It's got a different color, and then it's got different color knobs, and then it's got different color bezels with a different color accent to it. It's like my kid made this range, styled the range. She's 9 years old. And but the fact that I don't like it means someone will, but they can really do a lot of different stuff. If you want something unique, this is probably the best brand to do it in. Because if you don't like the 1,000 colors, you can even customize one of your own. This is one I really like, the red and brass. So that's about it. Induction is a better burner. It is a better burner than gas. No, it cannot make tortillas like gas. We've had a question like that. But reliability does matter. If you live in it needs, it's more complicated to fix. You can't light it with a match, and that's something to consider if you live in a rural market. But I think for everybody else, especially if you like to cook a lot, it's definitely worth considering. So what I would do is, I always say it's better to experiment with the stuff in a store than it is to find out after it's been delivered. Bring your pans and test them, and schedule a cooking in person. I know a lot of you in California and a lot of you in New York, but there's got to be stores that can do it. And then download our buyer's guide that'll give you answers to the 15 most common questions and everything I just gave you plus. So that's about it. We've got a lot of questions to answer, so we'll get to it. Our next webinar is going to be kitchen renovation mistakes to avoid in 2026.